Alright, so we're going to start with the Dairiki number 280 size 10. It's a 2x long hopper hook. And there is the black UTC 70. I start about a hook eye length behind the eye and just kind of bind down that thread there. I like to go about halfway back or so, sometimes back to the point, just to make sure I have a good thread base. And snip her off. Next, you're going to use your mylar tencel. You always want to tie this in with the silver side up, because when you wrap it over, you want the gold to show. Okay, use a pin trap there. Bring her forward and back as far out, about almost back to the barb. And then bring your thread forward to a few eye lengths behind the eye. And you're just gonna wrap the tencel, again gold side up. And I like to do overlapping wraps, just that way you make sure that there's no funny business happening between the wraps there. My camera seems to have a problem with focusing. And secure your mylar tencel there. I like to use a different pair of scissors for my materials like mylar tencel, just because it can dull my good scissors. Alright, so next we're going to go ahead and use the orange and yellow yarn. I have Sparkle Emerger yarn for my orange, and then just a basic yellow Antron for my yellow. And this is going to basically be your underwing, and then the way I do it is I just cut them each to the same length, as I'm doing right here. And you're going to put the orange part down and the yellow part over it. And you'd secure it just like that, to where if you're looking from the bottom, the sun's going to shine through the yellow and kind of make it pop over the orange. And so while I'm doing this, I met Lee Clark at a local Sportsman's Expo recently, and he showed me this fly that he designed. He's a fly designer for Umpqua flies, and so this is a pretty big deal for me to be able to put this video out. Haven't seen a whole lot of real good videos, so just want to secure it just like that, and I like to kind of double it over, that way you just get a little bit more fluff on it. I'm out in Oregon, and so we have kind of rougher waters out here, and so a little bit extra float doesn't hurt. And this is, of course, a Stonefly imitator, so you kind of want it to stick out about a hook shank or so in length out past the back of the hook. So it's well secured. Get to snip it off close. And just build a little bit of a foundation. Make it nice and smooth for that hackle to come in. And next piece we're going to grab is some natural elk hair. That is from Orvis. And of course, the elk hair, you're going to put that in your hair stacker and just align the tips. And what that does is you just want to sparse them out. You don't want to overdo it, and it's just going to basically act like the ribbing that you would see on a stonefly if you're looking from underneath. For any beginner to fly tying, I always recommend one of the first things to upgrade being your hair stacker. So you want the hair to be either right at or just past the yarn there, and You want to get some real good tight wraps in on it. And what you're going to do after you secure it to the hook, pick up those buttons and you want to cut it close at an angle, just like that. What that does is it allows you to easily get your thread through and secure it properly to the hook. And you're going to just continue to build that foundation for the hackle. And it's okay if some of those butt ends stick out. You can snip them, you can leave them alone, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. So here we have size 16 Coachman Brown rooster hackle. And I use a size 16 because it's not a very wide gap. You don't want this to be hanging all lopsided in the water. So I always trim about a quarter inch or so from the bottom, and then just a few fibers on the side I'm going to be wrapping away from me. That way everything sits just right there on the hook. And I apologize for my phone being all weird with the focusing there. So try to do a better job than I did with as far as trapping the hackle, but one good trick I have is when you do trap some hackle fibers, just pin all the hackle back just like that, and then just take a few good wraps. And then do a little bit of cleanup, as far as getting some of those trap fibers out of there to make it look a little bit neater. Fish aren't really going to care all that much, but of course be careful not to snip your thread. At this point, pretty much done. Just grab your whip finishing tool. After you just make sure you're nice and satisfied with how the head looks. I wasn't satisfied with how the head looked, apparently. Nice 4 or 5 turn wood finish. That's the ergonomic one from Loon. Sharp edge to come off. Now, one thing that I've been liking to do is I got some of this Loon UV resin for Christmas, and I've been having a blast trying it out. And so what I did here is I just took some of that Loon and I just put a real thin layer of the Loon UV resin on the hook. And I probably won't do this very often, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But that isn't the thick stuff, that's just the basic thin UV resin, just enough. Just get a small little layer on there. Fumble with the light while I have one hand trying to secure the fly. But that's just a little $20 Loon mini light. It has like a double or AAA battery in it, I forget which one. But definitely worth the investment. In just a few seconds on that, and your resin is cured. It also works really well for putting it on the head if you're not so sure about your knot there. And I'm just gonna take the fibers and pin them back down, and there you have it.